Hi, welcome to With Care. I'm here today to teach you how to use a ring sling with a newborn. As a registered midwife and a baby wearing educator, I get a lot of questions about how to use carriers, and I will say that the ring sling is one that often scares people initially. But once you learn how to use it properly, I promise you will love it. So follow along with today's tutorial and give it a try. In today's video, I'm featuring a locally made linen ring sling by Potter & Pear. I always love to support local when possible, especially female-run businesses like this one. You guys can scroll down to the resources section below to get a link to their site, as well as a little perk for all of our watchers, so go and check out that discount. Now, before I get started, a few things I like to bring up when people are learning carriers, especially when you're trying out something new, is to consider how you've prepared yourself. If you've got long hair, I find it's easiest just to get it tied up and out of the way. Like I have mine in a braid today, or put it up in a nice mom bun, but get it up and out of the way so you're not fighting that hair, whether it's getting stuck against the carrier, against baby, or in your armpits. It can just be really, really frustrating. Also, it's best to dress you and baby in a light-fitting snug layer. So nothing that is billowy and large that's going to impact how the carrier's fitting or that's going to get stuck underneath it. And also nothing that's going to overheat you. Because when you're working with a baby and you're trying something new, you can really overheat. So again, just a light-fitting outfit, again, that's snug to your body. And if you are nursing your little one, consider something that does have good nursing access so that if they are getting upset, you can pop them on the breast throughout your practice. Now, once you are ready to get started, we want to make sure that our ring sling is threaded properly. If the fabric is not hung through these rings properly, once we get it on, we won't be able to tighten it effectively, and it'll really be frustrating. So if you don't know how to thread a ring sling, please scroll down and click the link to my threading video, follow along there, and then pop back over here to learn how to use it. Now, once our ring sling is threaded properly, we want to next decide which shoulder we're going to use it on. Now, whichever shoulder we have the rings on, please keep in mind that that arm will have slightly less of a range of motion. So if, for instance, I need to be writing something while my baby's up on me, I might choose to put the rings on my non-dominant shoulder. So just something to consider. Now, if I want to have my rings end up on my non-dominant, so for me, my left, I'm going to hold the rings in my left hand out in front of me. I'm going to have the tail hanging off to the left, and I'm going to take my right arm and put it through the carrier, and then just lift the carrier up and over my head. And I'm going to end up with my rings on my left shoulder here. Now, the first thing I'm going to do before I go and get baby is adjust this carrier. I'm going to make sure that the back is all spread out, that none of the fabric is pinched or flipped, because that will cause pain and pressure points. The next thing I'm going to do is make sure that the fabric is all spread out through these rings properly. So what I'm going to do is called a finger walk. I'm going to put my thumb underneath, and I'm going to just walk this fabric across from one side of the ring to the other to make sure, again, that it's all kind of flared out, that none of it is flipped or having a hard time moving. That will make sure that when I do go to tighten my carrier, it's working effectively. So next I want to check, again, if I can tighten it properly. So when I'm tightening a carrier, I want to be able to pull this top edge of the fabric to tighten what we call the top rail, the top edge here. And that's working, perfect. And I want to make sure that when I tug on my bottom rail down here, that it tightens the bottom part of the fabric, which it is. So again, I've made sure that everything's going through the rings properly and that everything is working. Next, I'm going to adjust the carrier to approximately the size of a newborn. So I'm going to take my arm and pull it inside. And see how I can kind of pull it out? I want it right against my body for a newborn. So I'm going to slightly tighten this carrier before I get my baby, because with a newborn especially, it's nice to have the carrier almost fitting them so you can get some support right from the beginning, and then it's easier just to make minor adjustments. If the carrier is very large and baggy, when we put the baby in, it will be very, very hard to hold the baby and adjust the carrier effectively, so do consider that. And the final thing I want to do is make sure that my placement is good. So I want to make sure that my shoulders really fanned out over the cap of my shoulder, and that these rings are sitting in what we call corsage position, or approximately just below our collarbone. Once I've got that all ready, and again I've got my newborn positioning, then it's time to get my baby and practice using my ring sling. Once I've got my ring sling adjusted approximately to fit a newborn, I'm going to get my baby and put them up on my opposite shoulder in burping position. This is baby Freddie, who's about 5 weeks old and approximately 10 pounds. I'm going to reach my hand underneath the fabric of the carrier and bring my little one's legs through. I'm going to guide their bottom down and let them sink right into this fabric that I've gathered all together, right into the center of my chest. And I really want to see my baby go into that natural deep squat that babies do, with their bum nice and low and their knees up high. I want the carrier to support them in this position. Now, a lot of people ask, should their legs be out or in? Typically, if we can have their legs out, so if the carrier can safely accommodate that, then that's what we recommend. And that's just because when the legs are on the inside, sometimes the baby ends up standing and putting the pressure on their feet or their ankles. We want all the pressure to be in their bottom, so that's really why we prefer the legs out when possible. Now I'm going to bring up the back panel of the carrier by hooking my finger under the edge of the fabric back here and pulling it up and over my baby's back as I support him. I'm going to make sure it comes right up to the nape of his neck and that his arms are on the inside. Now you can see right now that this carrier doesn't need a ton of adjusting, and that's because I started with it in a newborn position, or adjusted approximately for a newborn. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come and make sure that this seat is nice and deep for my baby, so that hammock of fabric is going from knee to knee, and that there's fabric coming between my baby's body and my body. That's very important. I'll take out any slack there and grab the bottom edge of this tail and tug towards where the fabric came from just to tighten that slightly. I'm then going to come up to the top here and take out all this slack. So I'm going to grab from the back, feed it around, and then the easiest way to tighten the carrier is to gently lift up our baby and then grab onto the edge of the tail. So we're doing the top edge right now, so the top edge of the tail, and we're going to drag across. We're not pulling up or out to tighten, we're going in the direction the fabric came from. I also want to make sure that any slack throughout the middle section is pulled out, so I can gently tug on the center here, just to make sure that my baby's got good support throughout their entire back. And anywhere that I see some slack, I just want to work that out. There we go. Once my baby is in the carrier, I want to make sure that they're in a deep hammock that's got a nice supportive seat, that they've got the M positioning, that their back is nicely supported and they're not slumping down in the carrier, closing off their airway potentially, and that their chin is off their chest, again, protective of their little airway. We want to make sure that they're visible, so we're not covering them with anything, and that they're kissable. So I can just bop my head down and kiss the top of their head. It's really important. And if I need to nurse, I can simply pull up on this top ring and lower my baby down in an upright position or into a cradle position. But once I'm done nursing, I'm then going to raise my baby back up to the chest height and make sure that I adjust my carrier back into the position it was pre-nursing. And again, just doing those checks each time to make sure that our baby's in a good, supportive newborn carry. I think he likes it. So if you've enjoyed this video, please scroll down, leave any comments or questions below. I'd also love it if you'd subscribe to my channel and check out my other videos. Thanks so much and have a great day.